Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome everybody in today's live with our hotelier expert Adam Schroeder. I will wait a few minutes for filling our live room. And please let me know if everyone can hear me, if you can hear me well. If the sound is good and the video is good, please type in the comments. Also, you can type in comments where are you from. We are doing this live from Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii. Adam is also in Hawaii, but in the different location in different island. So okay, I see our admin is if there is a sounds good, cool. So I'm David Kotres. I'm the CMO of Innovasis Hotels, and I'm so excited to do this live with our great team member, which is the Adam Schroeder. I will soon add him to this live chat room, and we will start. And before I do this, I would like to introduce Adam, who he is, and why we decided to start working with him. So Adam have enormous experience in the hotelier industry, in technology field. So he have a 23 years experience in this field, and he is considered one of the world's top mind in hospitality industry in case of the innovation and technology. He have traveled around the world and see hundreds of projects of the hotels which developed and he helped them in case of the putting the innovation to the project. Today, Adam is served as a head of innovation and R&D for Innovasis Hotels. He also most recently have a presentation speech in the Silicon Valley, where he had a speech which was called "The Living in the Belly of a Boat," and he have a very big background in hospitality from introduction the advanced robotic systems in the hospitality industry to design one of the most water efficient hotel washrooms in the world. So in today's live, we will cover the technology and the technology aspects of our project, and soon I will add Adam to our chat, and I would like to ask you to if you will have a question related to this topic, please go ahead and type in the comments. We have also 13 questions from the community and our team to Adam, so we will be answering it. And I think this is pretty much it. We are in the nine person is in the chat room right now. We are waiting for another people, and I think I can start add the Adam to our chat. Adam, be sure you're watching us on your mobile phone. Right now, I can't see the ability to add you as a guest, as a presenter. So maybe you can turn off the live and jump here one more time. Okay. And please let me know if you're hearing me well. Okay, I see Adam. Can I add you? Adam, I can't add you. Okay. Give me please give us 1 second. We just tested and live, and everything was fine. And right now I don't see the button to invite Adam, but soon we will fix it. Just okay, I see the Adam. I'm adding you. Hi Adam, can you hear me well?
Hello, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, it's fantastic to see you. Adam, I made a quick introduction of you, and also can you tell a few words about yourself, what you're doing in our project, and what is your experience and your expertise?
Yes, definitely. Thank you, David. It's great to be here today. As David probably told you, I've spent quite a bit of time, about 23 years in hospitality. My main job throughout those 23 years has been overseeing technology developments, usually from the ground up, usually new builds, but sometimes remodels. And my role in those teams were to oversee all the technology, whether it be security, computer systems, high-speed internet access systems, reservation systems. There's quite a bit of technology in today's hotels, and so there's probably 25 or 30 different areas that I oversee in those projects.
Okay, that's awesome. And can you tell our viewers what they can expect from you in case of this live? What we are be covering it?
Yeah, so today, we're definitely wanting to dig in to let you guys know what the project is thinking about as it relates to the technologies we're going to implement. And it's an overused little bit of a word, but we are truly going to be innovators and leaders in the hospitality space. And we're going to talk a little bit today about that, and I think you guys are going to find it very exciting.
Awesome. So I think we can start. We can jump to the first question. We have almost 20 people here, so I'm very glad to see you guys here. Something happened with my computer. Oh my goodness, the actualization in my computer just starting. I can't believe it. So Adam, do you have this document with all the questions opened, and can you read the first question? I will need a few minutes because
Sure.
I can't believe that my computer just reboot them himself and start updating his. So if you
Yep.
can read the first question and answer, it will be great.
Yep. Definitely. So the first question asked, do we think the whole holistic view of data can be essential for Innovasis hotel technology? And
Mm-hmm.
I got to say that that's a very excellent question to start off with, because a lot of what we talk about in hotel development is the bricks and mortar side of that development. But equally important to Innovasis hotels is the digital side of the development. So, and and actually, we talk a lot about data and big data and
Mm-hmm.
hospitality, but we don't do a very good job of collecting that data in a way that we can use it in an efficient manner. So all of our systems are going to be cross-platform, storing its data in the blockchain.
Okay, awesome. So definitely blockchain can help us to gather all the data and use it the most efficient way to, for example, reduce the waste of the water or different things. Is it correct?
Yeah, so the systems are not only helping us to be operationally efficient, whether it be,
Mm-hmm.
housekeeping operations or guest operations, but it's also um, meant to directly impact the guest experience. We want
Okay.
to give you the same experience across locations, and we'll do
Mm-hmm.
that by being very data centric.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Okay, so we can. I think we can. We covered this this question. We can go to the another one.
Okay,
Can you write it because my computer didn't
sure. The
didn't
next
reboot yet.
the next one we had was, what are the biggest
Mm-hmm.
technology innovations coming to the Innovasis hotels? And I think
It's a good one.
yep, I think this speaks deep to our brand. We not only named the hotel, but the spirit of everybody involved in this project is one of true desire to implement the latest and greatest. And unlike other hotel operations that are a bit static, they kind of maybe approach their development in the here and now. Our team is all about keeping up with, what is, I hate to coin the frame, the latest and greatest, but we're going to be a magnet for new technologies. And actually right now the hotel industry is basically a magnet, but turned in the opposite way. We kind of repel new technology. We don't really want to embrace something new because it kind of affects our operations in a way that our staff isn't prepared for. So not only are we going to bring these new technologies into our hotels, but we're going to build the infrastructure, the systems, the software
Mm-hmm.
that will support those technologies. And I think you'll find that Innovasis will become the go-to for the industry of what to roll out next.
That's really interesting. Okay, what do we have in the third question? Can
It
you
says,
read
yep.
it?
It says,
Mm-hmm.
in your opinion, what makes the difference between the classic hotels and Innovasis hotels? And maybe a second part of that question: do you think Innovasis hotels will be successful, and if yes, why? So to the first part of the question, what makes us different? I often talk in hospitality is there's this, a world famous canyon in the U.S. called the Grand Canyon, and I always imagine hospitality being much like that, where Innovasis and a very few maybe other developers are starting to stand on one side of that crevasse, and on the other side is traditional hospitality. And they won't tell you guys this, but I will. Since everybody's paying $300 and $400 a night, for standard rooms, they have no motivation whatsoever as developers and operators to change what they're doing. And on the other hand, in Innovasis hotels, we we'll actually say it a little differently. When you come back to our facilities, we guarantee you it will be different because we have a commitment to staying up with all the latest and greatest technologies. And I think that's the biggest difference, is that classic hotels, they really don't want to have anything to do with that. That really interrupts their business model, and they're very
Mm-hmm.
happy with the way it is.
Okay, cool. And I remember that there was another question
Mm-hmm.
which is really related to this you're talking right now. There was something like which hotel for what kind of hotel is harder to add the innovation? For example, the new brands
Mm.
like us, like Innovation Hotel, or the old school brand which they are in the market from many years.
Yep. It's a great question. It's a very true kind of perspective that there are definitely hotels, and this makes sense to most people. New builds are probably your opportunity for some innovation, but a lot of those are brands, what we call flags, and a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
plans are pre-existing, and a lot of the standards are pre-existing. So those are a bit challenging even on new builds. But you're right, when it comes to an existing hotel, most of the room inventory out there, it's really hard to go back and retrofit. Like, for example, some of my bathroom technology, it's very applicable to retrofitting backwards. But it just makes a lot more sense in new construction because you can actually change the way you do the very infrastructure of the hotel. And that's
Mm-hmm.
important because we're peeling back layers here. For us, it's not just adding something to the room like a new IoT alarm clock that we find on the market. We
Mm-hmm.
go all the way down to the foundation, and we are thinking about everything in between, even the walls, the plumbing, the everything from the ground up. We're looking at as a possible form to innovate, and so it makes it that much harder to go back and retrofit this stuff into existing structures.
Yeah, that's totally correct. And what I can see that we don't have, for example, in our company, we're not like a corporation right now, and we don't have so much procedures. For example, in a big company, I can believe, and I think you can tell a lot about it. That in the big companies there is a ton of procedures that if you want to implement one small thing, you need it need to go through all these procedures through a bunch of people and so on.
Yeah,
So
it's
I think.
Yep,
Hmm.
it's very true. In the flags, there is a standard operating procedure book usually that comes along is about this thick, and
Yeah.
yeah, if you do want to change any of that, it is a very painful process,
Yes.
and many times you just kind of give up before you ever get to the finish line.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. We can jump to another question. I have the list on my second phone. Thanks, Bartek, for this. So the another question is, what if the hotel will be fully booked, and will you consider and how long will take to expand the capacity, and how will you handle the occupation, the occupancy, high and low?
Yep. So this is something that's been really interesting to watch for me in the last, I don't know, decade in
Mm-hmm.
hospitality, where we've gone from that traditional 64 room, 120 room Hampton Inn, Holiday Inn kind of standard. It's very
Mm-hmm.
static. You can't move it. It has the rooms it has, and there's a very static picture. But due to our modular approach of design, our guest room inventory is not static. Our approach
Yes.
is not traditional in that it involves creating the entire resort in a digital space first. And then we bring special 3D printing equipment right on site to our locations, and we print and build the entire resort in real time. So, unlike other hotels, our room inventory is dynamic. So,
Mm-hmm.
we achieve this through using construction techniques that ensure that we're able to add or remove room units with ease and with little to no impact on the environment, the location,
Mm-hmm.
or the operation of the hotel. And so, as an example, let's say we have two sites. Site A is running 90% occupancy, Site B is running 60% occupancy. We could very easily move some rooms from site B
Yeah, just put
and
here.
yep, and
Mm-hmm.
transfer them to a whole new site in general or to a site that we're running in high occupancy. In some cases, and I literally mean that what the part of the question is how quickly could we expand? 48 hours we could bring in 10 or 20 or 30 rooms, and a traditional hotel couldn't say that. The other thing is that our framework is designed to bring in more room inventory. So as we clip in rooms, we don't even use traditional PMS systems. Our PMS systems are designed from the ground up, and
And
as
can
we
you tell what is the PMS system
oh yeah, sorry,
to
that's
explain it?
yeah, that's the
Mm-hmm.
property management system, and that's the
Okay.
heart. That's the heart of the hotel. And since
Okay.
we're going to design that from the ground up, as we clip in our rooms, they are symbiotic. They have their own ability through IoT to report occupancy status and all kinds of different sensory arrays right into the property management system. So as we add
Mm-hmm.
rooms, we don't even dynamically have to add them to the PMS system. They'll add themselves.
That's really helpful. Yeah, that is great. So another question is, how will you resolve the garbage recycling and waste management?
So first, it's really important to note that innovation's not limited to design and construction. At Innovasis Hotels,
Mm-hmm.
we have to rethink how we handle everything, and this includes the operations of the properties themselves. Several years ago, my team tried to introduce advanced robotics in workers into the hospitality ecosystem. And what that research revealed was, I guess, both predictable and shocking in the same case, because based on that research, we realized 2 points. One, we're about 15 to 20 years away from sending robots into the hospitality industry in mass. So that may surprise people.
Mm-hmm.
But two, meanwhile, nothing we are currently doing in hotel operations is either efficient or in line with how we would expect things to be in modern times. So Innovasis not only has rethought these processes, we've designed the operational infrastructure to support the implementation of these systems. So in regards to the question about the waste management and recycling, you'll likely see our staff interacting with heavy lift drones that will pick
Mm-hmm.
up that waste and take it to an advanced processing center right on our site, where we'll achieve a nearly completely recyclable or compost processing of all of our hotel's waste. We'll process everything on site, but we're not stopping there. We have a lot more exciting innovations to introduce as it comes to this area. Beyond being a hotel, Innovasis is going to be a magnet for advancements of technologies. And so if you have a new technology, you're going to come to us first and implement it into our ecosystem, because it'll just make sense, and then the whole
The
world will get to
innovation
see it.
hub, something like this.
Yep.
Cool. And you said something about the drones, and I know that you're a big fan in case of the drones. Can you say, do we can use the drones somehow?
Yeah.
Because it's.
So we
Mhm.
know that we have to approach this in a like any new technology, it's going to take some real thought on how to. And
Mhm.
so that's the great thing about us. We're not just people and operators throwing these new technologies at the wall and seeing if they stick. We before we think to present them, we think them through and we think about the systems. So we have come across some really interesting use cases of heavy lift drones. One I just
Mhm.
touched on is when we're cleaning a unit, a couple things has to happen. We have to remove the garbage, and then we also have to get the other operational pieces like the laundry to the washing facilities. And so these heavy lift drones, we are actually developing those to work in conjunction with the staff from an operational perspective for a couple different ways. But also, every technology that we implement is going to have a guest facing site also. So we also envision using those heavy lift drones to use as a concierge to deliver your luggage right to your room.
Mhm. And how about the sound? Because as I know, the drones are really the sound is really high, and there is a different technology in case of the drones that we can use it, or we need to wait, for example, few years to implement the drones that they are secure and they are silent.
Yep. Noise is certainly something that's being addressed and has been in the last couple of years, because one of the first use cases in hospitality we tried to use the drone on
Mm-hmm.
was to basically do a tour. We wanted the drones to follow a hospitality person around so we could tour somebody around the facilities. But we
Mm-hmm.
found that the rotors, though it was a really good telepresence system, we found that the rotors did create a bit of a noise. But now there are, over the last couple of years, we've been working on technologies to reduce those noises. So we think that we can operate these heavy lift drones in a quiet manner. But you mentioned safety too. And so we also have designed virtual track systems. They stay above like the walkways, for example. So they're not just randomly flying heavy luggage around people. They know very safe paths to take, and if in the event of emergency they need to set down or drop their load, they'll only be inches off of the virtual platform. So, and then we have software that wraps all that operations that allows us to control that stuff in a safe manner.
That would be awesome. I recently saw the movie which is called the Player One, and it was the futuristic movie which showed the future, and there was a lot of drones. So I think this is the future of the transporting things and even the people. So I'm really big a fan of the drones too,
And
and
what
and this idea.
And
Hmm.
one, I mean, it's a little bit of a, maybe a 5 or 7 year kind of thing out in the future. But one of the things we'll also see and that we'll embrace at Innovasis right away, because we're looking at like maybe possibly helipads and landing areas. But
Hmm.
the heavy lift drones are quite capable now of carrying people. And so
Nice.
eventually we're going to see drone usage really spike across the spectrum.
Awesome. This is awesome idea. Okay, the next question is, if the hotel is supposed to be off the grid, how will you supply hotel with the clean water? For example, in Hawaii, because the first project we want to do in Hawaii, so how we can manage it in Hawaii?
Yep. So I think some of the greatest things about Innovasis you may never even see as a guest.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our stuff is going to be technologies that set maybe behind the walls per se, and then plumbing's a good example. First, when it comes to water at Innovasis, let me just say we are going to blow your guys' mind. We are going to do amazing things with water. First, I'll just say it right off the bat. We're going to use 80% less water than traditional resorts, and and
Nice.
and that's going to be a huge impact to the surrounding locations. But regardless of location, we believe today's water is a precious resource. So we are, and we're serious when we say this, we don't want to waste even a drop of water. Therefore,
Mm-hmm.
we've developed a brand new process we call water endpoint science. And it starts with using advanced remote utility pop ups that handle fresh water, water treatment, black water, gray water, and even energy production and storage, which we can talk about later. And then the process ends with using some of the most advanced water systems ever developed, including the world's first waterless washing technologies. We're not just gonna stay in the bathrooms. We have looked at the complete portfolio of water usage at our resorts, and we're going to address it at every single water endpoint. So the
What a
results,
saving, yeah?
yeah, and the results
It's
are
a
going to
big
be
save.
stunning. I mean, in savings, but
Mm-hmm.
you may not even notice that this is happening, and that was actually the goal. We didn't want to take away from the experience. So when you're taking a shower, you shouldn't notice that you're using 80% less water, though you should have the same experience.
Mm-hmm. Brilliant. And what about the sea and the ocean water? Do we want to use it somehow? And if yes, how we can manage it?
Yep, there's definitely, in hospitality, I have seen a few resorts lean into this topic a little bit. And so there's definitely some really clever things. Not only seawater from power production, but also in cooling systems and different desalinization processes.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what markets we're in, we'll definitely consider this option. I think the real competitive advantage of our brand is that we're a wireframe for new technology processes and systems to gravitate to. So when other hotels say no, which is pretty much my whole career of hearing no from these operators that they just want the status quo, we're going to say yes to new technologies. So we're going to embrace them. So there could very well in some locations be some uses of seawater in our designs.
Brilliant. That's really good, and that's really good, guys. I would like to mention that if you have a question to the Adam, you can easily comment this live. So we'll cover all the questions related to our today's topic, which is the innovation in the hotelier industry. And also you can write in comments how you already like it, this live, if you like the topic. So please go ahead and let us know. And we can now go to the next question, because right now we are talking about the off the grid solutions in case of the the water and stuff like this. And what about the energy? For example, the solar panels. Will solar panels will be the only energy of source of the innovation hotels, or do we plan to use different ones?
Yep. So obviously, we will indeed heavily rely on solar technologies, and you're going to find that we're going to do that in traditional ways and non-traditional ways.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional is going to be, if we can dedicate fields of solar panels instead of fields of parking lots, and we can talk about parking later and how we might address that issue. We'd rather see our fields of solar panels, for example. But as that technology steadily is increasing in productivity, we're also not going to roll out any other forms of technology. We talked about Hawaii, and in Hawaii, there's definitely several different forms of renewable energy that are applicable. For example, wind energy. We have a
Mm-hmm.
very strong trade winds here. They're fairly constant and they're fairly reliable. So wind energy is definitely a possibility here. We also have a very active volcanic. We're in a volcanic area here on some islands, and so geothermal technology is also a very applicable technology for this location.
So you're saying that this is the possible to take the energy from the volcano?
Yeah, on the Big Island, and yep, on the Big Island,
That's
we've
awesome.
done it before, and yeah, and we can use it for all kinds of power
Really
generation.
interesting.
Yep, and then I touched on the solar.
Mm-hmm.
Solar can be everywhere, and it's almost
Correct.
hard to imagine the places it can be. So some of the things we'd like to also introduce into our resorts are fresh production of produce, both for our restaurants and then for the
Mm-hmm.
surrounding community. And so we can not only produce electricity, but at the same time, we can grow fresh produce in IoT chambers. So you may see us doing very interesting hybrid solar rollouts, including there's paint that is solar conductive. There are the roofs of a lot of our utility pop-ups and rooms are going to be solar laced. So solar is going to be a big part of it, but we're rolling out nothing, including some of the latest technologies that are coming out
Mm-hmm.
from, hydrogen technologies and so on and so forth.
Cool. There is a question in the chat from Gustavo. Where exactly will be the first hotel? So, Gustavo, right now we are in the Hawaii, and here we are fully focused on all the stuff in case of the permissions, in case of the land. So we made the biggest progress right now in Hawaii. So the first hotel will be in that place. Okay, let me jump to another question, because we covered the thing in case of the be of the grid and the things in case of the solar powers, solar panels, and the energy sources. And I see that this project is very eco-friendly. And do we predict the more solution that is the eco-friendly, and what you and the how the people can see this eco-friendly solutions in our hotels? Because, for example, we don't harm the environment with the concrete and this heavy building technology.
Yeah. Like you said, David, from the very beginning that a hotel is conceived, it becomes a large environmental impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say that though there has been progress with what we refer to, like in the US, as LEED standards, which are green building standards.
Mm-hmm.
In the UAE, they're referred to as Pearl standards. But there's been a lot of progress there. But here's the great news about Innovasis, and I say this a little bit jokingly, but I do mean it, in that we're going to make today's standards look like cave dwellings, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And that's because we, like you said, every step of the way, we're not going to do traditional construction. We're 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 not going to um, deploy um, tradition in any sense across the. In fact, we've been invited on some of our technology that literally, say in the UAE, for example, they're prepared to change their standards to meet our level of standards and have everybody else come up to that level of standards. So we're going to set the level of eco-friendliness and hospitality in ways that people haven't imagined yet. If you just take my one statement about water savings alone, I challenge any resort right now to meet us on the same level playing field. Reduce your water usage by 80%, and I think they would be hard pressed to do stuff like that.
Awesome. Gustavo asked what island in the Hawaii. So right now we are in the Oahu, and we have done the research here. We saw the couples of the lands. We do also all the time the research on the Oahu. But today I drove with Pavel to the airport, and he's right now in Kauai to meet the zoning manager, which can show us the land we can use. So we are considering the Kauai, Oahu, and those are one of the most beautiful islands here. So we definitely want to do this in the place where our guests will be amazed in the view and the nature and all the aspects. So this is it. Hello, Elena. Nice to see you here. Okay, the next questions. How will you balance the security and surveillance with guest privacy? What will be the technology used in those areas?
So, as we talked about a holistic data approach, this is something that we, you know, definitely have found that there's going to be some balance needed, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because the power of what we're able to bring into our resorts, for example, we're bringing robotic sensories off of the robots and in statically to the hotel environments. One I talk about that's often easy to relate to is that if you see a drone flying around, you also, and it's autonomously flying, you can see that it's not running into trees and humans and that kind of stuff. It does that with a technology called LiDAR. And
Mm-hmm.
and we'll actually bring those LiDAR sensors into our spaces, both in the guest rooms and in the public areas. And what we found is that, yes, there's definitely a balance between delivering that ultimate guest experience where we know your every preference and protecting that data versus how we're going to balance that with it. And so, at Innovasis, we're protecting our customers' data in a holistic. We only want to use it for our own operations, and we will not resell our data. We will not be sharing our data sets with anyone. It will be a closed data set, and the idea is to balance the approach here. As we get more sophisticated, you're even going to see this in your homes. For example, in the vanities, you're going to see vanities shipping with cameras in them, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have to find some balance, like everything else. It's like you have to be careful not to take your cell phone in while you're on camera, to a situation you don't want everybody to see. So we're going to be very particular about this subject, and I think that since we are going to be some of the first to implement this technology, we're going to be some of the first to set some of these standards too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. There is one question on the chat from Ainon. Hi, does all the process transparent to us? Yes, Ainon, just recently on our Medium, Pavel Alva, our CEO, wrote the for really big updates. So you can go to our Medium. It's medium.com/innovasis.hotels, and you can read the 4 articles, and the more articles are in progress. We will also record the videos. We have a few videos already edited, and it's waiting for to publish. So watch our fan page or social media or Telegram. We will be posting there the updates. There is another question from Ruben. If the power from the hotels is going to be a solar, how would you fit into conservation, and how overall size it's required to power the site?
Yeah, so each location, and it's kind of a scientific process.
Mm-hmm.
As we find each location, then we evaluate the possible energy
Yes.
solutions, and then we're able, through a calculation off of that, if we can use wind, if we can use
Mm-hmm.
geothermal, we'll back that out of the solar calculations, and we have everything. So even our room designs are designed in a uber energy efficient manner, and so
Mm-hmm.
we are able to then calculate our solar needs based on that. And so depending on the site and what we have available, we may need a smaller footprint or a bigger footprint for the solar.
Yes.
And so it's a little bit dynamic on the location.
So all depends the land. So first we need to choose the land, which we both know that it's not an easy process,
Yeah.
especially in the Hawaii.
Yep.
So we are doing it right now, and when we have the land, we can calculate what kind of energy solution we can use, or if it will be the solar panels, how big field we need, and if there won't be the other supporting systems to power all the resorts.
In some cases,
Mm-hmm.
we'll even look to the ocean for power. There's wave generating power. I mean, so we're really not static at all on power generation. We're going to look at
Mm-hmm.
every single possible solution at the locations that we have.
Cool. Okay, another question, and I think you will like it. Will the smart home concepts will be applied to the rooms at Innovasis? Will it be integrated with some kind of mobile app or something like this?
Yeah, so that's been a lot of my, I guess the last 5 or 7 or 10 years of the
Mm-hmm.
hospitality side is where they really wanted to come in here and automate that side. So yes, everything about our rooms will be what you expect it to be, completely controllable by an app, but it's just not the room. You're connected to the whole ecosystem of the operations and everything. So that it doesn't necessarily just control your room. You're going to have the ability to have on-demand human interaction from your app when you want it, and when you don't want it, you're going to be able to control everything from your app.
Awesome. We have a question from Paul. I think it's a really good question. Look like eco-friendly products have difficult to switch to the mass production. Example, Tesla new factory. Is it it's easy to make one eco-friendly hotel, but how to make 1,000?
Yeah, our industry is guilty of being, one of these industries that I call the domino effect. Is once one hotel does it, the others will have
Mm-hmm.
to, and so that's really, I mean, that's a kind of a crude approach to the answer, but really, we're going to be the standard setters, and you know, Holiday Inn and all these other flags, they either want to do this stuff, or they will see our success in doing it and that draw of the guest, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll follow behind us, and that's really how something becomes, the oddball out, where one hotel or a few rooms has this, to where in 20 years you wouldn't roll out. The other thing is detaching ourselves from the grid. In some industries it doesn't make a lot of sense, because if the grid's there, why not use it, right? And but in our industry, location is highly tied right now to that grid. So if
Mm-hmm.
we could decouple ourselves in hospitality from that, imagine the locations that we could be, especially if we're not bringing in backhoes and tearing up. We could be in the world's most prestigious locations and have very little impact on the environment. So for us in hospitality, decoupling ourselves away from the grid is, I think, actually strategically needed to move the industry forward,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody will follow. That's how you get 1,000 hotels to do it. I'll give you one quick example. I mentioned PMS systems. We went in with a new property management system. It was called Micros at the time. Not many people in the industry knew them. They knew them to be a point of sale in restaurants, but we slowly rolled out, became the standard, and before you knew it, we were signing contracts for 2,000-3,000 hotels at a time.
That's nice. And I also think that the hardest thing is to put the first hotel and, for example, to test it, because the first hotel will use it as a prototype,
Yep.
and then we will improve it, and when we'll know that everything it's correct, then we can multiply it because of our modular structure and the plug and play solutions. It will be, I think, easier to build another one hotels than the first one.
Yep.
So the biggest challenge is right now.
And many people in our industry, they really need to touch and feel something to
Hmm.
be convinced to
Yeah.
move forward. So if they come to one of our resorts, it'll almost be impossible for them not to start to think that they have to start developing in some manner like this.
Hmm. Cool. Um, we covered the question in case of the smart homes. You said in case you said how it could look in case of the mobile app, and I have a question about the locks in the doors. It will be like old school keys where you can put the key and you open the door, or for example, there will be a application on my phone that I can locally, for example, locate my room and then open it with the app. Do you know that kind of solutions? Are
Absolutely.
you
And yeah,
familiar with this?
yep,
Mm-hmm.
we'll definitely have the digital check-in. You won't ever have to stop by a front. I mean, the idea of the front desk is a good example of how
Mm-hmm.
we haven't changed very much in hospitality. Some have started, but yeah, you won't need to interact with an individual if you don't want to, and if you do want to, you're going to have that choice. And even with your door lock, we're going to take it to much more sophisticated levels. You know, one
Mm-hmm.
thing I always said in hospitality is one of the most friendly things you could do is open the door for somebody. And so, one of the things you'll find that our doors and locks will do is when you first approach your room and you're a new guest and it's your room, in some cases, we'll even be able to recognize and open the door for you automatically.
Nice, really nice experience. It will be the experience like anything in the world.
Yep.
Okay, I see. I think I have the last question from my list. Um, do current hotels use innovation in their locations? And if no, why?
Yeah, I'd love to tell you that they do, and they want me to tell you they do. Trust me. But I mean, to tell you the truth, most though we're Hospitality Future Labs have been on that kind of forward front of pushing technology, everything's been really painful. I always go back to the high-speed internet access systems that we put in. It was early 1998. I can remember that the owner said, "Hey, we already have internet. You plug into the side of the phone," and he was talking about dial-up at the time, and I
Hmm.
wanted to bring that new digital plug-in Ethernet experience, but the industry had never done it before, and they fought me every step of the way. You know, why do we need Cat5 cable to the rooms? And so, to tell you the truth, the current hotels want you to believe they're innovative, but they've told
Hmm.
me in the backgrounds, the developers, the owners have told me, Adam, if everybody continues to pay $200-300 a night for a standard hotel room,
Yeah.
we're not motivated at all to do anything different. In fact, we're going to keep doing what we're doing. So they used to be, our industry used to be the industry that concentrated on listening to our guests and delivering what they want. Sadly, we have fallen down on that. Our guests have asked for innovation, and we can't hear past the room rate that you're
Hmm.
paying. So
They
that said, our hotel is going to be absolutely different in that approach.
So you're saying that the current hotel don't want to go, they don't want to step forward in case of their comfort zone,
Yes, they're
something
very
like this.
comfortable where they are right now. They're
Yes.
making really good money.
Yeah.
If at some point they weren't, or the guests started to say, "Hey, I'm not staying there, or I'm not paying that rate or that ADR, average daily rate, until you guys deliver the minimum of what I want." How
Mm-hmm.
about a digital door lock? How long have we been waiting for that to happen in the industry? So that's why we talked earlier about that crevasse or that chasm. We're on one side and the traditional hospitality industry is on the other.
I think it's a really dangerous approach in case of the big hotels, because this day finally will come, and there won't be a time to them to put the innovation, and they will be in the not good position.
Yep. And this happened with Airbnb too. Our industry
Hmm.
just doesn't want to admit that the 64 room flagged hotel isn't going to be the standard of the future.
Hmm.
And so that, I mean, that's the great thing about getting involved with our project. You're with people who are going to walk the walk, and a lot of the traditional people want to talk about innovation, but when it comes to breaking ground and building that hotel, you would be hard pressed to find anything innovative in that hotel.
Hmm. I understand. Okay, that's. I think this is all in case of the questions I have in my list. Guys, please, the last few minutes of our life, please, if you have any question to the Adam in case of the technology aspects, you can type it in the question. Also, please comment how you liked this live. If you like it, we'll be doing more of this. You can click like button to show us that you're there and you're listening us. Maybe we can wait a little bit for the questions. And Adam, can you talk maybe little more about the IT system in the hotel? Can you in this time you tell a little bit in case of the IT system, for example, how the infrastructure will be made, and something like this.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's all the way down to our bottom line infrastructure. I remember trying to get some hotels to run fiber optics to each room. Even that seemed to be
Mm-hmm.
perplexing. So we'll have fiber to each room. Even our plumbing connections will be smart. We're going to meter every single drop of water going into every single room, every piece of electricity. Our real One of our biggest assets to our hospitality company here, a lot of it's just bricks and mortar for traditionals. We are going to have a very robust digital asset uh, part of our business where we'll own a lot of IP, and we'll be
Mm-hmm.
introducing a lot of this technology into the broader market. If they're all going to come and copy us, it only makes sense for us to also make money off of that intellectual property. So
Mm-hmm.
some of the systems we're building are ground up builds. A lot of people go out and they buy off the shelf products in hospitality that never really fit very well together. We're going to have a highly integrated ground up framework.
Beautiful. Here's a question from Christian. Fun parks, how will they work? And I don't think it's a question for Adam. Christian, I will arrange the same live with Pavel Alva, our CEO, and he is the main brain in case of the fun in case of the fun, playgrounds, and so on. And there will be the best way to ask him personally.
What one
Mhm.
thing I will say
Okay.
to Christian is we when it comes to fun too, we're not just going to stop at maybe some of the obvious stuff you're kind of seeing in the videos and stuff.
Hmm.
We're even going to bring technology into having fun. One of the things I like to mention is, how would you like to go digital snorkeling with an underwater drone from your room? You know, and we're just going to have so many really exciting things for our guests to do.
Nice, nice. That's beautiful. Okay, guys. I hope you liked our live. We spent on it like almost 1 hour, and for me it was like 10 minutes. So great. I think it was a really great interview. It was a very big pleasure to me to talk with you, Adam, and to have all our community here watching us. Almost 1 hour. It's amazing to have you everybody here. And yes, Adam, do you want to say in the last word?
Sure.
Uh,
Sure. So I'm really humbled. Thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you for listening. Feel free to reach out. And yeah, I think this project, unlike, I wouldn't be involved with the project if it was another empty promise on innovation.
mhm,
I'm really excited about working with Innovasis because I truly believe these guys are going to deliver something that we've all been waiting for a long time, and
mhm.
they're going to be the first to bring you something super different in this industry. And I think everybody that gets a chance to be involved in this project will be absolutely impressed. And I see a comment on virtual reality. You better bet we're going to have the latest and greatest fun technologies. We're going to embrace things. Augmented reality, by the way. You may
Mhm.
see holographics at some point. So there are going to be so many exciting things. And we're going to say yes when other hotels say no.
Awesome. And I also see the question from from the Sharif. Do you see this question? What will be the attractive point to the owner, as you said before that that owners not interested to invest in the technology?
Yeah, Sharif, I think that there was a time when I think no one would have believed, and I'll just use this. I hate to pick on the iPhone, but no, who would have believed that all of us would be excited about spending $1,000 on a phone? And so I kind of feel like this is, if we build this, I always think that it is going to be very compelling for other. They, these developers are just so used to developing the same product. And we talk about in hospitality that we put heads in beds, right? So our success is to do the same thing and do it over and over again. So it's not natural to a hotel developer to maybe develop something brand new. But if you show them something brand new and they can touch it and feel it and see it, then
Hmm.
the next time they develop something, I think it's almost impossible to say you would do it the other way around. So I hate to say it, but I think if we build this, the developers will basically be forced to develop in a kind of a new, it's like developing a brand new model of a car. And if it's going to set the standard for all the rest of the cars and the technology set, I remember when none of the cars had adaptive cruise control, and now it's almost a standard feature, on even a Kia. So I think if we set the standard, everybody will follow. And there will be so much standards that we're going to be setting that I
Hmm.
think that it'll be impossible for developers not to do at least parts of what we're doing if they don't do the whole thing.
Definitely, we will be pioneers in the hospitality industry, and soon the other projects will be following us. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for this live. Thank you, Adam, for being a presenter, the first live of Innovasis Hotels. Thank you for everyone which joined on to this live and watched us, and hope you see you in the next live. Bye bye.